So, welcome to the Walking in Victory conference. This is the part of the service that we're going to record because a lot of the questions came from social media platform, and so we hope we're answering your questions efficiently. But if you haven't been here, you missed out on an amazing morning with all the beautiful ladies, didn't they, ladies?
Yeah. So the first question says, what advice would you give a woman who still misses her narcissistic, lying, and manipulative ex-boyfriend who caused her miscarriage of their baby? Why can't she hate him because he brought nothing but pain and exhaustion into her life and never apologized until today because he believes he is perfect and never wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a very sort of difficult question.
Yes.
I mean, because it brings a lot of sort of components, to it. I don't know, Pastor Shantel, if you wanna.
I think it's a good thing that you decided not to hate him because I think that's the main thing. Because if we walk around with unforgiveness, that causes more problems in our life. So it's good that you're not hating him, but you need to make a decision to now focus on the Lord. You need to decide to move on. I think that's the most important thing, to move on, because ultimately He's going to give an account to the Lord one day for His behavior.
And I mean, she specifically even described it so well, right?
Yes.
She said narcissistic, lying, manipulative. It's very important even entering into relation because for me, my biggest thing would be number one, asking her because, for example, I mean, she even mentioned miscarriage,
Yeah.
right? And she even mentioned boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, not without judging her. I think
Yeah.
a lot of the times, as Christians, we've said yes, no sex before marriage, and we really haven't really helped young girls and even young men to live pure, right? And so there's a lot of situations and a lot of things that come with that.
That's
but
right.
number one, that's just boyfriend, right? You've become that vulnerable with that person, and now they've left you. So there's a lot of things, and the type of relationships you're coming in. What are the type of people you are choosing?
Yeah.
Because the red flags come really early on, and as women, we go, but I'm gonna love him. I will fix him.
That's
I
right.
will, and yet the Lord is saying, hey, no, here's the red flags, right?
That's right.
This person has been lying, and manipulating you. And like you've said, Pastor Chantal, is she's chosen the best attitude to forgive him. That, is to her credit. But for us as women to really protect ourselves,
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier, who are you choosing,
Yeah.
right? Who are you choosing into your life? And for me, just taking my experience, Pastor Chantal, I didn't really like what was good for me. I remember even telling my friends, learn to love what is good for you.
That's
right?
right.
A lot of the times we're choosing partners that are not well for us. When I met my husband, I even thought he's very boring, right? He's not very charismatic. He's not,
Yeah.
and yet God was just like, but he ticks all the boxes, right? He listens to you. He's understanding. He's supportive. Never once did Bradley say a man does this, a woman does this. In our home, he watches the kids, he cooks, he cleans. That's what I needed. I needed a partner that was going to be with me and also understand
That's
where I
right.
was coming from. So I think it's very important looking at that and allowing, like Pastor Chantal has said, for the Lord to help you through this journey, right? So
That's
that you're not
right.
taking it into your next relationship as well.
That's right, because we need to be equally yoked. That. I think that is where it starts first. Because if we're going to compromise on our beliefs in order to stay in a relationship, I think that's a red flag. So don't compromise on who you are, on what your beliefs are. Okay. So the second one was, what are the more natural ways to managing menopause as opposed to man-made medication?
And I mean, unfortunately, you weren't here for the presentation, but we started looking at it. Yes, hormonal replacement therapy, we might say it's man-made because sort of it's synthetic, it's been produced probably at a lab. but it has a lot of sort of benefits, right? There is other things, those other natural things that you can do before even stepping into hormonal therapy. So that's exercise, eating well, right? Minding the environment that you're in, because stress also plays a really big role. So those are other things. There are other sort of
Mm.
herbal alternatives. One of them is phytoestrogen, right? You can even find it in clicks, etc. Those are some of the things. There's even another one that's been approved by the FDA. I just can't think of the name off
Mm.
the top of my head, but they are alternatives, right? You don't have to straight away go to hormonal therapy. But I think there is this misconception that people are afraid of hormonal therapy,
Mm.
right? Because of everything that happened in
Mm.
the past. Don't be afraid of it. If you are speaking to a qualified doctor, they can tell you the disadvantages and the advantages, but also know that there are alternatives to it. Yes.
Okay. Then the other one was, do you recommend hormone therapy, replacement therapy? If so, under what circumstances would you recommend it?
Okay, so I say every woman is different, right? Every woman is different. I mean, there are some symptoms. If you are not sleeping, some women will even tell you, when I have my hot flashes, I literally need to be outside somewhere and I feel like I can undress. I mean, that's excessive, right? It's not just a
Yeah.
little bit of, oh, I'm feeling a bit of a
Yes.
sweat and then this thing is going away. It's literally taking over. So if the symptoms are overwhelming, right? You can't sleep. You are having excessive hot flashes. You are, what's this, having major skin conditions. You've tried everything, right? You've tried other things. So I would recommend hormone replacement
Mm.
therapy, but I would recommend it to anybody, right? If you are suffering and you're just saying, you know what, I'm tired of having these symptoms, right?
Mm.
I've got mental fog. I'm gaining weight. It's very difficult to lose the weight despite everything that I am doing. What can I do? This is definitely an alternative. So that answer would be, it depends, right?
Mm.
In medicine, there's no blanket answer for anything. It's what will work for that particular person.
Mm.
Once I've spoken to you, I've examined you, I've done your test. Can you go on hormone
Mm.
replacement therapy? Are you going to get the benefits of it? Yes or no? And so those are the things. So
Mm.
it will depend on the particular person.
And I think it's important that we seek counsel from a medical doctor. You know, don't listen to your girlfriend. Don't listen to Miss Dr. Google.
Yeah,
You
true.
know, go see a doctor and talk to him. Ask questions, the right question, like
Yeah.
you said, and we will place that link on
Yes.
social media as well. So ask the right questions so that your doctor can give you what will work for you. Because what worked for me would most probably not work for the
Yeah,
next person.
definitely.
So that is the step number one that you need to take to go see a medical doctor. And then number four is, how do we get our husbands to understand what we're going through
Oh.
in menopause?
I wish we could literally have a separate thing for the men, because I mean,
Mm,
they probably also going, how can I support you better?
yeah,
Because they can see there's personality changes, there's all of these things. But just informing, I think knowledge is power, especially
yeah.
for the guys. They might not be able to understand what you're going through. Like, they
Mm,
will never understand when you fall pregnant, have children, go on your periods. They don't understand all of that stuff, right? So I think educating them so that they can say, hey, honey, let's go
mm,
and see a doctor,
that's right.
right? Hey, honey, okay, maybe let's not address this situation. Let me step
Yes.
outside. There's a lot of things, but I think the more they have the information and they're not going, but you've changed, but you've changed. What happened? You
Yeah.
weren't like this years
Yes.
ago. I think giving man that power. I
Yeah.
think even the guys at the back can say, hey, I've learned something, right? I've learned something, and I can take that and I can
Yeah.
be a little bit more supportive,
Yeah.
right? To the women in my life, just to be a little bit more understanding and
Mm.
actually nudge them on, like, I think you need to go
Yeah.
and see a medical
You know,
doctor.
just a short testimony a while back, because I'm in menopause. Can you believe it? But anyway, so my skin is terribly dry, so I'm itching all the time. So 2 o'clock at night, you were speaking about
Mm.
sleepless nights. I'll be lying awake and my husband will be snoring next to me. And I will nudge him and say, babes, I can't sleep, I'm itching. And the other night he was saying to me, what can I do to help you? I said, just help me to scratch, because if I scratch, I literally scratch myself open. But when he does it, he obviously does it gentle. And then he will do it, then he will fall asleep. And then I will nudge him. I say, you're not doing it. And then the next evening he was awake with me, I promise you, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning. And I asked him, what was different? Why did you persevere tonight?
Mm.
And he literally said to me, I asked the Lord, what can I do to help my wife? And the Lord said to him, just just scratch, just do what she's asking you to do. And then he said to the well, then you need to keep me awake. And the Lord kept him awake. So I think also, ladies, is
Yes.
communication. You
Yes.
know, our husbands don't understand
Yeah.
these things.
Mm.
So just communicate with them. Say to them, I'm having a bad day,
Mm.
and so that you can work through it
Yeah.
together.
Together.
Yeah.
Amen.
And then,
It says, okay, I'll read
yeah.
to question 5. It says, how do you cope with the death or loss of a loved one?
Mm,
Sure. This one is a,
yeah.
I mean, for me, I lost my mom in final year medicine, and then my dad, it's now 3, 4 years ago,
Mm,
although I didn't really have a relationship with her. I know death is different for everybody, right? Everyone goes through this process very, very,
yeah.
very differently. For me, I think for the Lord, I'm so grateful for the Lord for preparing me, especially with my mom, because she was, I used to say, if this woman is not here, right, this is
Yeah.
my pillar. Oh, which is
Yes.
another problem, right? Your pillar should
Yes.
only be
Be
Jesus,
God.
should only be
Yes.
God. But for me, mom was my pillar. Like if mom
Yeah.
was there, everything was fine. And
Yes.
so God, in His mercy, prepared me ahead of time, right? He first did it with a dream 2 years prior. He showed me, it looked like there was a rapture. Mom was going like, but why am I left behind? And,
Mm.
I woke up and I was like, oh my word, does that mean I'm missing heaven? And, I was stressed out, but it was just the process that God was taking me through to prepare
Mm.
me. 3 weeks before, I woke up crying excessively. Like you couldn't even stop me from
Mm.
crying. And I'm like, Lord, what is going on? But at that time, I didn't even know about listening. Like, how do you hear from God? How do you
Mm.
take those cues? If I knew what I know now, I think even that
Yes.
process would have been really differently. But even with that knowledge, recognize that you are going to need help, right? You are
Mm.
going to need spiritual, someone to walk with you through
Yes.
this journey. Don't do it alone in an
Mm.
island. You'll need people around you. I had an amazing support system in Bradley. Of course, I had amazing friends that would
Yeah.
speak into that charity. Why aren't you actually processing this? Because
Mm.
I couldn't cry. But what was happening during this process is that I had amazing peace. When I found out that mom had died, it was painful, but I had amazing peace. God just said to me, "You will be okay.
Yeah.
Go through this journey,
Yes.
cry if you need
Yes.
to cry, right? Go through the process and realize that people will be well meaning. They'll tell you, oh,
Yes.
don't cry.
Yeah.
People are loving. They might
Yes.
not say the right thing, but they are loving you through that process,
That's
even though their
right.
words are not as comforting. But
Yes.
realize, have people around you. Don't isolate yourself,
Yeah.
because the more isolated you are, the longer it takes, for you to actually snap. And if you need a medical doctor, do so, right?
Yeah.
They can even assist you with antidepressants, sleep, some just temporary, so that you can move through it. But it's
Mm.
a process, right? And
Yeah.
everyone does it differently.
Definitely. And that's the thing, you need to allow yourself to go through the grieving process.
Mm.
Don't try to be everything for everyone. Don't
Mm.
try to be strong for your family because you're also going through it. So I think allow yourself to go through that process. And then another thing, remember the person that passed away. Their life was a gift to you. Don't
Mm.
remember it as a loss. No,
Mm.
remember it as alive because we
Mm.
need to remember our loved ones even though they're not with us.
Mm. And
And
it's amazing that you actually say that, because I watched a movie, someone went to heaven and then they came back and they were just so depressed. They're like, heaven is amazing. And I was just like, mom is probably going, God, they will be fine. I'm not going back. They will survive. I'm not going back there. And so
oh,
for me, that was comfort to say, you know what, she's in heaven going,
yeah,
I'm rooting for you. You can do this.
that's right.
You know what, you can run this race.
That's right.
God has
Yeah.
given you all the tools that you need.
Mm,
Yes, it will be painful, right? Don't be afraid of the pain. I think a lot of the times that's why we have painkillers, heal the pain. Pain is
yeah,
not a bad thing. It just tells you you are going through this
that's right.
process, right? And you'll come out the
That's
other
right.
side.
So the next question is how do we show grace, mercy, and forgiveness if there has been cheating?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so I don't know if it was a cheating in a relationship or if it was a cheating in a marriage. But I just want to say that we need to remember Mercy and grace, only the Lord can give that.
Mm,
And we just need to find our worth, our
mm,
worthiness, and our happiness and our joy in the Lord,
mm.
you know, and that is how we will
We'll move
move forward.
forward. Yeah, it's a very, very difficult process. And for every person, someone will say, well, in the Bible, I'm given,
Mm,
the grace to then, if
mm,
you are married, to then get a divorce, etc. But I think, during that time, even when there is betrayal in a relationship, a lot of the times, even with females, will say, it's probably me.
yeah,
I didn't, I didn't, I
yeah.
didn't, I didn't, I didn't. And I'm not recognizing that nothing in you brought
Mm,
that about. And so finding your healing in the Lord,
mm,
I've seen a few couples that, because at the end of the day, as young as I am, God puts you in that
yes,
position to have to counsel sometimes your own peers and
yeah.
even women older than you, and you basically are telling them, you now go through this process, right?
Mm,
You now need to grow despite what he's doing, right? Despite what
mm,
God starts dealing even with you so that you can heal, you can deal with the trauma,
mm,
and then make that decision. Am I remaining in the relationship, or are we parting ways? If I'm remaining, Lord God, how are you going to restore
yes,
this relationship? How is he also going to grow in this relationship?
yeah,
I had my friend who, this is what happened. And I remember saying to a friend, you've made the decision to stay.
yeah,
We've cried about it. We've probably said all sorts of words about him, right? But I never want us to rehearse this. So when
yeah,
he makes a mistake, we're not going back to, but he cheated, right?
yes,
That is now we are laying, because
yeah,
I also, as your friend, need to heal and look at him the way you do. So
yes.
it doesn't help each time, but he's doing this because he did that.
Mm,
And so I told her she has to do the work, they have to do the work. Once they've done the work, they come together and they start reconciling on this marriage. And then from there, we never bring it up. Not because it didn't
that's
happen,
right.
not because we are ignoring the situation, but because we've chosen that we are moving forward
Yeah,
together. We can't keep going back
that's
to the
that's
past.
why.
Yeah.
And it's important who do you tell your business to? Who are you going to share with that your husband cheated on you or your boyfriend cheated on you? Because remember, you need someone next to you that's going to give you the word of God.
Mm,
It's going to give you right counsel
mm,
and not going to sit and wallow in your sadness. Yes, they can do that for a time, but it's going to be a time that you need to move forward. And that is important. Then you want the right people in your corner to say, listen here, like you said, we're not going to look back. You decided to stay, so now we're going to move forward.
mm. Amen. Amen. Next question is, what vitamins or supplements do you recommend taking during menopause? Is there a brand that you would recommend? We spoke about this as well in the presentation. So largely we speak about vitamin D, right? Vitamin D is very, very important. Yes, you can take other things. I know people like taking multivitamins. I always say if you're taking multivitamins but you're not eating well, it's like making expensive urine. Remember,
Mm,
you are not absorbing half of what you are taking in, right? You are actually peeing it out,
mm,
right? And so it becomes useless if you are not eating well. So making sure that you are eating well, having some sort of exercise or movement that you are doing outweighs any supplements that you are going to do. That just enhances what you're doing,
mm,
right? It's not the end all. So
mm.
yes, you can go on vitamin D supplements, you can even do vitamin C's and all of those, but it doesn't negate the fact that you still need to be having a balanced diet and a healthy lifestyle
Okay.
is more important than just the supplements.
Okay.
Yeah.